like the second part of Python series. So for those that haven't seen my last video, starting this Python series because job market is tough, and I think it would also help me as well as help you learn Python. So in the last video, like how to get this all set up. So if you haven't watched it, it's a short little video how to get set up and run this first program, Hello World. So if you do this print, it'll print this to this console. So we'll start here. So the first thing I want to go over is a few things. So there's data types, and then there's variables. So that's what this video will be about. Not too hard. So data types, there's different data types in all the different languages. So the ones we'll focus on is strings and integers, right? And there's other ones like boolean, float, long, character, right? And there's different ones, right? But we're gonna focus on strings and integers because they are the most common ones and the easiest, usually where people start. So so what are strings, right? So strings is anything that is in a quotation mark. Like if you say hello world, right? This is a string. But you can't just type this in the code. You can't do that. You got to assign it to a variable or put it in a function like print, right? So this is telling your program to print this, right? Hello print whatever, right? So what a string is anything in a quotation mark. So I'll talk about the variables here. So let's say you make a variable. So you can name this whatever. First variable, right? You set it equal to something. Equals, let's say hello world. So what does this mean? You put the string, right, in quotation, into this variable. So what you can do is you can do print first variable. Right? It's the same thing as doing print hello world, but the reason you want to program like this is because sometimes you take, like for example, if it's a web application, right? So and this is a user input, it could be something else. It could be their name. It could be, right, if somebody's name is Bob and you need to print their name for the application to say, with different users, whatever, right? You could do Bob. So that's why you want to do this. You don't want to change this every time you get a new different input, whatever. So that's strings. Okay, and then there's integers. Integers, as it sounds, is numbers. So this is like 10, 20, whatever, whole numbers. So so let's say this is the important difference though. So let's say I did print 10. So it prints the number 10. But what if you do print 10 like this? It still prints 10. The difference is that this is a string, this is an integer. And I'll show you why this matters a lot. So let's say, so now that we know the concept of variable, right? So let's say string number 1 is equal to 10. And then let's say string number 2 equals to 20. And let's say we want to make a program that adds the two numbers. So let's say sum numbers is equal to string number 1 plus string number 2. Right? So these, like I said, these are assigned to this variable. So we're just using the variables now because, like I said, these could change. So we want a program like this. But anyways, let's say we want to print the sum. Well, what do you think will happen? Well, we want the number 30, right? We want to add the numbers. So if we do this, let's see if we get 30. We don't. Let me get rid of this. We don't get 30. Why do you think that is? Well, it's because so strings, it doesn't know that it's numbers inside. What it does is literally print whatever's in the quotation. Like it doesn't know if it's numbers, doesn't know if it's decimals, doesn't know if it's a name. It literally just prints what's in there. So when you add two strings together, it just literally just like combines it into one string. That's what it does. So if you really want to do like an addition program, you have to use the integer, which is without the quotation, right? So if you do sum new, right? So number 1 plus number 2, and if you print the sum, well now it prints 30. So this is what we want to do, right? We want to add, we don't want 10, 20. We don't want, well in some cases you do want to combine two strings, but not in this case. So this is kind of how you do it. And like I said, the reason you want to change this, right? If you want a new sum, let's say we change it to 50. It automatically updates because we're using the variables instead of having to come here and change to 50. So yeah, that's like kind of like the beginning of strings and integers and then variables. So in the next video we can get into more complex topics.